have you and Bob Lazar had recent conversations about the current UAP hearings and disclosure stuff that's going on in the
I,
Congress?
I asked him, to his face. I said, "Are you going to volunteer your time to talk to
Yeah,
the disclosure people?" Said no. They had, said they've treated me like garbage for 35 plus years. They can go kiss my butt. He didn't say. I mean, he's a very very gentle man, and
yeah,
he doesn't use profanity. He'll say damn and hell maybe, but he isn't what some of the media that's against him is. He's a true genius. I've been in his lab. I have, I think I may have sent one of the pictures of me in his lab, and he's just a likable guy, and he doesn't need the notoriety anymore. He's been condemned and discredit. People have tried to discredit him for 35 years, and that's not the case. And one of the things that George Knapp picked up on Bob when he first started investigating his background, Bob said that he had been in the Sandia employee newspaper, that he had a jet powered car, and it says Sandia professor relaxes on weekends going 300 miles an hour in his jet car. It's a drag car, and it had a Lamborghini Countach body on it, but it was an afterburning 50s vintage jet engine. It's been a fun adventure all the way through. Yeah, and I'm like I say I'm not close with Bob, but I'm on his list of people that he'll always respond to, and I'm looking forward. I can't go out on a road trip for 2 or 3 weeks anymore. And my wife has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, so I got to stay close to home.
yeah.
But I love every bit of what I've done in my life. I look back and I'm absolutely amazed at some of the stuff I've done. And I've been able to. There's not many guys. You talk about it. There used to be a program on TV called Sergeant Bilko. He was a scrounger. He could scrounge anything. So I become friends with Bob Lazar. We made commercial grade fireworks in his garage. My son helped him. It was just fun. I never was around. I could never get my schedule put together to go to any of his desert blasts. I mean, they blow up things out in the desert, and they bring ATF people there just to watch and to make sure that we weren't doing anything illegal. So my friendship with Bob, was cemented pretty good. But a lot of people say, "Well, he's phony. He's a plant, all sorts of stuff." Well, when I went over his house on on the night that we processed my film of the F-117, and I did have a few good shots, really good shots. Uh, I saw a very fancy diploma in a very expensive frame hanging on his wall. I looked over. I didn't pay any attention to it, but it could have been from one of the Ivy Leagues. That's the. I mean, it was a beautiful document all by itself. And we processed the images, and that was my first encounter with Bob. So
Can we stick with Bob Lazar for a minute? I have a few questions about you and Bob Lazar.
sure.
So, since you're good friends with Bob Lazar, one of the most iconic parts of Bob's story is, of course, the S4 story. And with everything we know or think we know, do you have you talked about this story with Bob in private? And do you personally believe there's still something hidden there?
I He really stuck his neck out to be a whistleblower. His wife had died under questionable circumstances. He'd had a gun put to his head at least once. He was called out to Indian Springs,
Hmm.
and he was in the back seat with a couple agents. I don't know if they were OSI or if they were who they were. And it just really it upset him. So he decided that he wasn't going to let him get away with this, and he was going to go public. And if anything happened to him, and he said on program with George Knapp, the interviews, that if I end up dead of suicide, broken neck out in the desert, like the Karen Silkwood accident, when she had a whole stack of documents, Kerr McGee plutonium enrichment plant in Kansas. This is back in the early 60s or maybe mid 60s. Found her off the side of the road with a broken neck. Car wasn't damaged, and all the documents that everybody knew that she had were gone. So he decided he was going to go public, and he did. And it was that everybody knows what happened from that point forward. But I always maintain my friendship with Bob. I've always supported Bob as who he said he is. And I was activated after my active duty time. I had a 10-year break, and then went back in the reserves. I was with the Minnesota Air Guard. I was their wing historian.
But do
Yeah,
you
I
remember
know.
a specific moment, maybe a comment he made, or a vibe when you thought this guy really did see something out there? This is
My
what he tells me
I
is true.
my father was a certified genius. He had an IQ of over 175. He dropped out of a language class. He wanted to learn Mandarin. He spoke 7 other languages in addition to English. And he quit after 2 weeks, dropped the class because he couldn't master Mandarin in 2 weeks. That's
Oh,
so I know someone. When I'm around a brilliant person, I know it. I know how they act. I know how they react to things. And Bob is a certified genius, in my opinion. So I have a couple of the events that I experienced that led me to believe that, and just encourage in to add to all the evidence that I had uh, experienced.
yeah.
As I was in the Pentagon, and it was a slow day. This is during the beginning of Desert Shield in 1990. Yeah, 1990. And my job was to read every message going to and from CENTCOM, whether it was eyes only all the way down. I was looking for designations of airplanes, because the aircraft type, the serial number, and the call sign, and the route they were taking. That was one of the things I read every single morning. And I'm looking down, there's a lot of U-2 activity, but there's no spooky airplane flying, no designation, which would have been in the classified documents that I received. I was in a vault, and my job was to pull any document that that related anything at all to the Air National Guard or the Army National Guard. I was to copy it, fill out the proper security paperwork, and then put it back into the safe that's looks like a 4-drawer filing cabinet. I mean, also in a vault, so things locked up double. And I would brief the fake news reporters every morning on what happened, based on I knew what I could say, and I knew what I couldn't say. But one day, it was a down day. I had a lot of time on my hands, and I'm on the Pentagon computer. I'm looking for the location of the U.S. Navy department that paid Bob Lazar. Now, I had his W-2. I had blocked out the Social Security number, but I had his W-2, and I carried it with me almost every day when it was in the Pentagon. So on the slow day, I decided I was going to go see if I can find where this place is. And I don't remember the exact office. But it'd be along the lines of Naval Investigative Services, NCIS. And I'm in uniform, fresh haircut, shoes are shined, all my ribbons, and I'm a tech sergeant. I'm an E6. I walk into an office. The door was open, and there's a young Lieutenant JG behind the desk. And I said, sir, can you tell me where this Department of Navy is located? And I hand him Bob Lazar's W-2. He looks at it, looks at me, says, excuse me, Sergeant, I'll be right back. He goes into the two stars office. He's in here for about 10 or 15 seconds. He comes out. He says, Sergeant, the Admiral will see you now. Now, anybody who knows the military or have experienced the military, especially if you're interacting with a flag or general officer, is Navy admirals look at enlisted, at least the ones some of them I run into, as they're not fit to be in the same room as them. Not all, but there's a good number of them. And the fact that I was an enlisted, I wasn't even an E7, which is a Navy chief. I was an A6. And I was an Air National Guard puke. I mean, he didn't like me from before he even met me. So I walk in there, I gave him a sharp salute, and normally the officer would say at ease. He said parade dress. So I'm standing rigid at parade dress, and he's holding Bob Lazar's W-2, and he's shaking. He says, I don't know where you got this, but if I ever see your face cross the threshold of my office ever again, you'll be the most sorry son of a bitch in the United States military. Do you understand me, Sergeant? I said, yes, sir. He said, you're dismissed. And with that, he put Bob's W-2 in the shredder. I did an about face and walked out. And if that would have been a phony W-2, I would not have had an opportunity to meet the Admiral, and I would not have been thoroughly beat down by the two-star.